Hey y'all, it is virtual Miss A, and today we're going to be revisiting some persuasive writing tips to help you feel more confident and ready for your test on Thursday. Excuse me. We all know what persuasive writing is. Persuasive writing is the attempt to persuade a reader or writer on your specific argument. In this case, you are writing a persuasive essay on are real life relationships different than online ones? It's very imperative to know and understand your argument so that your persuasion is strong and effective. Now, not to beat the horse over the head, but let's revisit what an introduction is. The introduction contains a hook, bridge, and a thesis. The hook is going to be the part of your essay that is more captivating, alluring, interesting, important. The bridge is the part of your essay that adds more details to your hook. So basically, you can stay on topic in your bridge with the hook. You're just giving a little more detail. You may be adding a counter argument. Your thesis statement is your position and your claims. This is the essential center of your persuasive essay and is the overall blueprint to how well your essay will be written. Your first and second body paragraphs are the meat of your essay. So, what does this mean? You're essentially taking your thesis statement and your first and second body paragraph, and you're restating the claims in your thesis. You're giving evidence for those claims, and you provide analysis for the evidence. Then you have your conclusion, which is the summary of the overall argument. All right. So here's an example. Miss A has a little mini essay written for y'all just to kind of help us understand how a persuasive essay should look. All right. So here we have a hook. Now, as I stated, the hook is the most important part of your essay. It is the part that sets you apart. It is the part of your essay that is very alluring. It is the part of your essay that is interesting. I'm just going to only read the first sentence of my hook because I don't want to waste time reading something you can already see. Personal day-to-day interactions are the glue to communities, cultures, and relationships. Notice here in my introduction, I don't necessarily belabor on and on and on. I give a very specific, clear, and concise detail on why, interactions in the day-to-day life are important. This is already setting me up for success because I'm giving background information about my topic. My bridge here is addressing the difference between in-person relationships and social media relationships. And even though my bridge is a little lengthy, it just expands off my hook. Then I have my thesis. Now, this is the most important part of your essay. It is the map, the roadmap, the blueprint for your essay, and it is very concise. As a result, the relationships in person and online are different because in person relationships require emotional intelligence and quality time. Notice that Miss A's thesis is very concise, specific, clear, and clean. This is how you want your thesis statements to look. Your thesis statements should not be longer than a sentence or two, and you should be able to identify your personal position and your two claims. All right. Now, after you do your introduction, you move on to your first body paragraph. This is when we start getting into the meat um, of your essay. This is where you argue your points by giving exact key evidence to prove your overall argument. First body paragraph, you're going to always restate that claim. Now, on your sheet of paper that you do have on the side of you, there are a list of transitional phrases at the bottom of the document. Use this to help you transition from paragraph to paragraph. So I just say to restate, and then I pull from my thesis statement and I restate my first claim, which states relationships require emotional intelligence and quality time. So I restate my first claim here, and then I give an evidence. Notice that my evidence here, if you can see, you see doctor, you see doctor. Notice that Miss A is not saying I. Now, I know some of y'all don't want to hear this, but using yourself as evidence is not the best way to go because you are not a reliable source. And so you need to pull from other sources outside yourself. Similar to the transitional phrases on your document next to you are a list of things you can use as evidence that do not include yourself. So please use that accordingly. Lastly, I have my analysis. Sorry, y'all. There's the janitors outside trying to clean up. All right, so lastly, we have the analysis. Now, analysis is when you take your evidence and you kind of break it down. Just so this makes sense, I am going to kind of read this just so we're all clear. So I'm going to pull from my evidence just a little bit. I'm going to read my analysis and then we're going to close this out. For example, on the podcast Homecoming by Dr. Tamer, she expressed that the emotional intellect is developed through in-person interaction. Further, Dr. Tamer expresses that personal relationships through Instagram lack emotional connections because texting does not allow for in-depth and vulnerable conversations. So my evidence is saying here that outside, like online relationships are just not that good. And so what I do here in my analysis is I take from my evidence and I just summarize it. From the evidence provided, the statement shows that human interactions are more beneficial because when humans have in-person connections, they are able to build emotional intelligence that is needed to have solid relationships. So this overall is a great analysis. This extra information is just me kind of giving more detail. That's not necessary. But if you could just summarize your evidence and connect yourself back to your claim, you are doing a great job and you have a strong argument here. I restate my claim. I give evidence for my claim. I analyze it. Notice how Ms. A is using her transitional phrases. Please refer to your document next to you to use your transitional phrases. The second body paragraph format is going to be the same as the first one, except you're going to be using the second claim instead of the first claim. You will restate the second claim, as I did here. In addition to the first claim, another reason why in-person relationships are different is because relationships require quality time. So I just restate the second claim. I will give evidence analysis for that, and then that's it. Your conclusion will be an overall wrap-up of your overall argument. I hope this makes sense, y'all. And if you are a little lost still, please feel free to reach out to me or Mr. Chavez, as we are here to serve you. All right, y'all. Look at my stickers near me. Y'all have a blessed day. And thank you for watching Miss Virtual A.